welcome to all of you who set time aside to invest in yourself. So give yourself a little pat on the back or a cheer. And money, of course, is ubiquitous. It's everywhere. We face it almost every day, unless maybe you're walking on the beach. And so it's an important topic, but it doesn't get the attention it deserves. Now, usually it's a serious subject. And for that, I kind of wore black today, casual, right? But I'd like to get started by pumping things up. So let's take 3 deep breaths and move our hands up so we can get the energy moving. Ready? 1, 2, 3. There we go. And that way, we can move oxygen around, sharpen our brain, the frontal cortex, and get ready to dive in. We've got a few slides, not many, I think about 6. And importantly, the way GLEAC likes to work is to have breakout rooms with key questions so we get to know each other and we probe a little bit deeper into our thinking about today's topic, EQ and money. And lastly, I would like to say a special welcome to those who are fasting today as the first day of Ramadan. And we will certainly do our best to close out the session before you break iftar, at least from the Dubai timing point of view. I can't speak about the rest of the world, but many of you maybe just woke up in Australia or US, and warm welcome to you. So may we start with the slides, please? So this is Money Talks, how to become emotionally intelligent about personal finance. And we're delighted with the people who have chosen to be with us. And we're also going to welcome those of you who set time aside later to watch the video. Next. So we need to be perhaps pausing here just for a moment or two on what is EQ, what is emotional intelligence quotient? Well, it's about self-awareness, self-leadership, personal discipline, and it's about empathy. Now, how does that relate to money? Well, money in the bank, we equate to security. However, money in the bank does not make you rich, particularly if it's just in saving items. Now, wealth and assets coming from multiple sources is also a way to feel secure and to improve your emotional quotient around money. Ideally, you want to have money working for you. You control your money, and we'll talk a little bit about that today. Smart money. Now, I have a comment about that in a moment. Smart money is a good thing to imitate and to role model, providing, of course, that it's legal and that you feel comfortable in those areas. And lastly, money is all about energy. It's about flow. And we don't often think about money in that way. Now, I'm going to start with this presentation with your 3 takeaways, in case you're busy, and most people in Dubai are, running around pretty busy. So we're going to talk about money as energy, secrets of all success, and secrets to wealth building, all in a jam-packed session, which we know you're going to enjoy, and we hope you find is also going to be fun. So let's start with money as energy. So most people see money as lifeless fiat paper currency, the stuff that's in your purse or in your wallet. But actually, and also many people to carry the idea that to earn money, one has to work hard. So part of the emotions connected up is, well, if I don't have enough money, if my glass is half empty, then I must not be working hard enough. But I think we need to also recognize that money is dumb. It's really just a measurement. It's a yardstick. And yes, money can be a way that you evaluate how you're doing over time or evaluate yourself vis-a-vis your neighbor. However, it's only an exchange value. And certainly those on this call are well aware that your internal personal worth has really nothing to do with money. So money is not a storehouse of value, particularly from Islamic point of view. Increasingly, today, many people feel that money should automatically generate a return. That's called interest. But there are some other alternative systems that look at it differently. Now, because many of us, from the emotional involvement we have with money, and in some cases, there may be some hardships, there may be some suffering in the past dealing with money, we tend to see money as a scarce resource. There's not enough around, there's not enough for me. Well, quite candidly, this is the capitalist point of view. And what we want you to leave today is to be open to rethink that in fact, there's plenty of money. And if you look at the Fed reports, you can tell that they printed 4 trillion in the first 6 months of 2020. So my God, there's a lot of it out there. Now, maybe it's not in your pocket or in your bank account, but first adjust the emotional orientation to the fact that money is abundant and that money flows. It flows a lot like a river. And of course, the river has a current, and then you can decide through your decisions about money, about what's important to you in life, about your financial goals, whether you're going to go against the current or you're going to go with the current. And in the flow state, of course, money comes in and it has to go out. There are bills to pay. And maybe there are charity or other donations you want to give as well. I hope that's clear. Next. So let's take a break, and I'll turn it back to Asma to share with you the question and how the breakout room works.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Omar. Flowing money sounds really good as long as it's coming into the pocket, definitely. So on that note, what we're going to do right now is go into small breakout rooms, and we have this quick 7-minute room that's going to open up for you in a minute, where the one thing you're going to be discussing is what's the one word that comes to your mind when you think about money and why, right? We just heard Dr. Omar talk about how do we really feel towards money. That feeling is going to impact so many more things. So let's just take a minute to think about this. We're going to be opening up breakout rooms soon, right? So is everybody ready for a good, energizing breakout room? The question again is, what is the first word that comes to your mind when you think about money and why? Yes? Okay, so Joy, over to you. Are we ready for breakout rooms? 7 minutes. We'll have 3 people in each room.
Breakout room starts in 10 seconds.
Hello, Sally Ann.
You're going to move.
Ramadan Kareem to you, Dr. Fisher.
How was your breakout room? Anybody wants to share? People are just coming back.
So I will be really happy to share. Our particular group, what was really interesting in terms of perspective was how the same word had the exact opposite meaning for us. So, one person said control and the other person said independence. Exact same word. And it was just really interesting to see how complete 360 this one word can have for people.
Wow, that's awesome. What's the word, Sal?
So it was control and it was independence, right? So exact kind of opposite in terms of the word.
Awesome.
But Sally Ann, couldn't they be the same? If I'm in control of my life, I'm controlling my financial state and the perspective. Did you all dive up? Is it a negative connotation or was it a positive connotation?
So we gave stories and it was a negative connotation one of them
okay.
and a positive connotation, but you're absolutely correct. The word by itself could be, but in our particular case, we shared stories about what the word and the stories were the exact opposite in terms of the speaker.
Very common, very, very common.
Yeah.
Who else wants
Anyone else?
Yep. Kerry, what about you? We see Kerry Ann is here, who also hosted a cybersecurity event for us last month.
Hi. Sorry, I'm trying to figure out which camera is on. It was good. I met Jacob and is it Kalika? Make sure I get her name right. Where is she? She disappeared. Radhika. There she goes. Yeah. And I think what Jacob said stood out to me the most. He was saying that having money is like a multiplier when he hears money. Because initially he had said persons think stability. I had said that it means flexibility, being able to choose whether I work or not, being able to choose what I do with my time gives more options. And he spoke about it as a multiplier. So I think probably, Radhika, I don't know if you could probably, I know you had captured some of the first part because I was off for a little bit.
Yeah, so he actually said stability and security was one of the main feature of word that comes to him. And for me, security is also one, but the other one that has recently been stuck to my head is investing and how I can grow it. So this has been the new terminology that's been sitting with me, and how you can, as Dr. Omar Fisher said, how can you make money work for you, really? And Jacob put a really nice thought to it of saying how it's a seed and how you can grow this. So that was really nice.
Wow, that's amazing. So much diversity for one word. Awesome. Over to you, Dr. Omar. We can take it forward from here. You're on mute.
Right, so slides, please. Next secret, which we had up front as a takeaway, and I'm glad to see so many are still here, alhamdulillah. So secrets to all success. And here I go back to the 80s and I take some learning from Tom Hopkins, how to master the art of selling anything, selling ideas, is attitude decides the altitude. So we were talking about your view, which is linked up to the emotions that you have connected to money. So what is that mindset? And one of the things we hope to stimulate in you today is reflection. And watch how you spend your money and what you spend it on, as well as some of it is not expenditure, some of it may be, as the last speaker was saying, it might be savings, it might be investing. Now, the thing to understand is very clear from the image in the middle of the iceberg, which is many of you are students of the mind and understand the word paradigm and the fact that our core inner beliefs, which actually congeal and come together about age 7, according to the theories of cognitive learning, Piaget, Bruner, and others. And they can be modified. However, this is the core corpus, which is the 85% or 90% below the water, okay? Which then determines habits, which then determines actions, which guess what? Determines our results. So when you examine your relationship with money, and maybe it takes a journal, Maybe it takes reviewing your checkbook, reviewing your bank statements, whatever it takes for you. Start to look at what is the mindset you're bringing. Is it one of scarcity or is it one of abundance? And abundance doesn't mean reckless spending because, more will just flow in. But basically, there's an opportunity here to go back into the core inner beliefs. And as some of the quantum physics and others are saying, you can rewire the brain. So as I said in the group just now, your mindset in the past, okay, once you can recognize it, then you can make a new decision starting today, whether you're going to continue that mindset or whether maybe you want to change it. And changing any human habit, as you know, takes time. Some science tells us it's 22 days. Some says, like Robin Sharma, 66 days, whatever. But the point is that our habits, which are driven by the inner core beliefs, really determine 90%, I would say, of what it is we do on a daily basis. So one good, let's say, reference point is your goals. And you have incremental goals. You have goals you believe you can achieve. And then you have stretch goals. And so I highly recommend that as you examine your paradigm vis-a-vis money and the financial goals you set for yourself, always have a stretch goal. That will help you kind of draw you, like the law of attraction, like for like, it draws you up to the fullness of your potential. Next. Asma?
Yes. Thank you, Dr. Omar. So again, at this stage, just like as we're figuring out what are our beliefs about money and our reflections as to, what's below the water, what's the part of the iceberg that's hidden. I want all of you to just think back at that time in life when you realized that money is important. If you realized it's important, then when was that kind of the one moment? Sometimes it might be a memory, it might be something somebody said, or just realizing that, no, I'd like to be financially independent, or I'd like to financially have so much. So what was that time in life? I'm going to stop sharing now so that we can all see each other and go into breakout rooms. Yeah. So
7 minutes.
Yep. Joy, are we ready for breakout rooms?
Yes, starting in 10 seconds.
But how was this round? You're on mute.
Hi, can you repeat?
It took a while to get the others to join in, but as you can know, I could talk indefinitely, so I can still without any trouble.
Okay, how would you find that round? Yeah.
I've also got a lot more experience than the others of getting it right and getting it wrong.
Okay, and what was your discussion like?
Well, I think I'm encouraging people to take lots of risks, which is what my view of life is. Risk it. Mm-hmm. Money will turn up some way or other. It just does. So it shouldn't be a constraint.
Can I quickly insert something on that? Because a lot of people have the wrong view of risk. A lot of people feel that risk is negative. And actually, there are two parts to risk. There certainly is a negative part, but if you think about it, to grow, you have to take a risk.
Oh, indeed.
And that's ultimately what I think David is saying, is for us to grow, we need to somehow get comfortable with a certain degree of risk.
Awesome, awesome. Who else wants to share? Yes, Sal.
No, please have everyone go ahead. I will share last.
Sure. Philip, Sunita, how was your round like? Some insights to share?
Sure.
Yeah.
Since I'm getting used to the incomplete conversations, so the last room, which was a very interesting conversation about the choices which we have to make and the trade-offs, and I completely agree with Omar when he says that it's all in the mind. That, you know, ultimately it is about how do I perceive it as a risk, and when you actually do it, you feel, at least in my case, I felt stupid that why didn't I take it much earlier. So risk is also many times in my mind, and not, it's a perceived risk versus the actual risk. And then we had different levels of risk people have taken in their life, and the three in our chat room, none of us felt that it was a risk after taking it. So it has kind of empowered us. So risk is actually very empowering.
Wow, that is deep. So much accomplished in 7 minutes, Sunita. I must give it to you. Definitely. Philip, yes, please go ahead.
To make sure I'm on. Okay, so we started off with, money also has a sustaining factor. So when you're poor, you actually have to have money, and you learn that it has that value. And that happened to two of the three of us. And then another, when she was in India, that things go wrong, you realize you actually have to have money to be able to survive and get out of a circumstance. But beyond that, as you grow up and you start to realize you do have enough money, then you can say it can enable you to do other things, but you can still have in the mind that it is your security blanket of the future, so that if you're not relying upon other people, you can actually change your mindset and start to build it to enable you to do other things, as hopefully it can make money for you to build your own security blanket.
Wow, that's awesome. Great. Then anybody else wants to share last 1 minute before we jump to the next section? Okay, then Dr. Omar, over to you.
Great. Could we have the slides, please? I think this is the last two slides.
Yes, absolutely.
So we said there were three takeaways, and the third takeaway has to do with secrets of wealth building. So in the chat bot, put a 1 if you want to build more wealth, and put a 2 if you are, let's say, happy with the wealth level that you're at the present moment. So they're quite simple and straightforward. I'll just run through them. Whatever is your level of income, spend less than you earn. Sounds like common sense, but let's face it, the data says that a lot of us don't have that control, that we actually overspend more than our income. And often too, what we spend on, we have peer pressure, consumer pressure. Let's face it, there are huge commercial investments in ads and whatnot to tell us what to do with our money, right? That consumerism. So we end up often using money for wants rather than needs. So if we can pare that back to the needs, you'll find it much easier to follow the spend less than your earnings, and that frees up available capital for saving or investing. Second, we seem to be purchasing things in order to be happy. And I'll have more to say about that in just a minute. But basically, the challenge therein is that now we associate the feelings, the serotonin and the oxytocin, the other things that go on in the brain when we experience happiness, right? That gets associated with external items rather than finding ways to be happy inside by things that we think, things that we do, people that we're with, places that we might go and visit. So consequently, sadly, there's all too many of us who aim to buy happiness. So we work hard all week, and then we have the weekend to be happy. So I suggest part of the paradigm shift you may want to reflect on today is rather than well-being, which is easy to achieve with lots of money and with assets and wealth, right? Focus on being well, which is moment to moment, actually. And that can bring about sustained happiness for us. Next slide, please. Yeah, now Sally put in the chat that, of course, we might be happy in our work, and that's one of the goals, isn't it? Is actually, we don't call it work anymore, we call it play. So imagine you say to your husband or your wife, listen, I'm going to the office to play. And, you know, that's again, it's a mental orientation, but it also brings up certain emotions. Work is hard and diligent, and maybe there's some resistance, whereas play, everybody I know loves to play. So quickly, this slide is just meant to introduce us to the idea that from stimulus and titillation, there are different levels actually that we experience as feelings and as emotions within the body that relate to the concept of happiness. And happiness is a level of satisfaction which actually is quite temporary. And when we can know ourselves, and maybe mindfulness can contribute to this, then we can go actually a level above and have the sustained happiness, which is called in English felicity. And for those who, let's say, achieve more in that space and can sustain a level of contentment, then there's either nirvana, there's bliss, and it doesn't occur in a cave. It can, but it also can occur within your family, within your circumstances, and therein lies the challenge for each of us, is how we can come back to the point, how we can adjust our relationship to money so that it's more comfortable and it allows us to grow, perhaps to multiply the money so that we can achieve our financial goals and time freedom and money freedom in order to do more with the gift of life we've been given. Next. Asma?
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. So I've put in the chat a little while earlier. I'm going to add it in again here. So we have a little worksheet to kind of make all of this concrete, everything that we've just gone over. It's in there in your chat box right now. Right. So Dr. Omar, how would you advise this? Can we just go ahead and start kind of?
Yeah, well, download, please, the worksheet. And in the remaining, let's say 5-6 minutes or so, why don't you start to, if I could suggest, start to fill out the questions. So there's 3 exercises. Put down what is your monthly spend, add it up in column A, and then jot down the high points or a single number for what is your monthly income. And ideally, for some of you, you would have achieved what they call multiple sources of income, not just wages, but maybe you have a rental property, maybe you published a book, and therefore royalties are coming in. Maybe you've invented something and you have patent royalties. Maybe you have an odd job or 2 jobs. So the idea for exercise 1, and while I'm talking, you can actually do this, is then subtract the total in A column from the total in B and see what the outcome is. Next, you go on to the exercise 2 for monthly savings. So now you know your monthly income, and in column B, just jot down how much in an amount you're saving every month, or let's say on average. Sometimes it's seasonal, perhaps. And then you divide B, column B, which is monthly savings, okay, by your income, and that will give you the result, which is a percentage. So that becomes your saving rate, and that can be a KPI. You can adjust that. So I'm saving 3%, and I want to move to 4 or 5, or maybe higher. And the third exercise, as a result of some remarks I made just a moment ago, you may want to rate your level of happiness about money. On a scale of 1 to 10, are you dissatisfied with the level of money in your relationship, or are you joyful? And this can help. These exercises are meant to put some things on the table in front of you in order to help you with the, let's say, the analysis or the reflection by gaining some visibility. I find in my practice that money is often a taboo subject. It's not talked about at home. It's definitely not talked about in school, except, you know, you didn't pay for your books, or, you know, your tuition is late. But as a subject, okay, it's really not taught in the lower grades unless you choose corporate finance or what have you, or choose to get an MBA. And then even then, it's not a central subject. So I'll stop talking, give you a couple of minutes to work that through, and then we're done for today. And it's been a great pleasure to interact with you, to hear your comments. We hope it's been fun. That's our goal. And I'll just put a shameless plug here. I don't know if you can see it, but you can't see it. Okay, so never mind. But there's a book which I'm publishing on conscious wealth. So those that would like to know more, you can visit the website at the end of the presentation, and our dear friends at GLEAC will circulate the presentation to all who are interested. And again, we thank you very much for your participation. Asma?
Thank you so much, Dr. Omar. This has been amazing. Yes, the worksheet will be shared over email right after this, and we will be sharing the slides as well to kind of reflect and on each of the things that we've done today. Thank you so much. And thank you everybody for joining us. If in the last 5 minutes, we want to ask for 2 things. As usual, people who've attended might know we need your feedback, your reviews on this. So every single event, we try something new, because the point is to, I think, understand that human skills are everywhere. So I'm just going to drop a link in the chat. If people could just take a minute or 2 to just share your feedback, it would be really helpful for us and craft more of what you'd like. So again, feedback can be very specific. What did you like? What would you like us to improve on? And we make sure we implement it going forward.
I would just like to add, Dr. Fisher, you know, I enjoyed this session wholeheartedly. And if any of you would like to see more sessions like this with Dr. Fisher, let us know. Put a number 1 maybe in the chat box for those of you who are here, because I do think sessions around you know, talking about finances in marriage, talking about finances in all different ways. I think it was a lovely way that you made it warm and fuzzy, Dr. Fisher, and not daunting on all of us. So you have a lot of 1s coming up there. So I think we would love to see more sessions from you on this particular topic. So that's the first thing. The second thing I wanted to mention was, shoot, I forgot. It was so important also.
It'll come. You're human.
Oh, this is what it was. It was the answer to question number 2 I wanted to share, and you made me think about it, Dr. Fisher. You know, the question was, when did money become important? And I want to answer this for everyone here who is in the GLEAC community, certainly for me, you know, and I shared this with my group. It was only recently, I would say in the last 12 months or the last 6 months, that money has become so important to me personally. And it's because of the community GLEAC. And it was because I realized for years, it's been 3 years now, I've had investors coming to give me money and I kept saying no to everyone. No, I'm going to do this. I don't need money. I would pass investors on to people. And only in the last 6 months, I realized if I'm going to build GLEAC into everything that it could be and have the brightest minds next to me that I can hire and go as fast as possible, I'm going to have to make money important. And I share this on the day today because today, guys, I signed our first up to $2.5 million investor coming in from the US for GLEAC, and we signed on all the closing docs today. So today was a big, important money day for GLEAC.
Wow, congratulations.
Yes, yes. So I had to share that story, my big money story.
Wow. Awesome. Awesome. So before we pass on, let's make sure we get our picture. So every single GLEAC event, at the end, all of us send out flying kisses. I see many shy people here hiding behind
Camera,
cameras.
camera, please, camera.
Yes, all of you are pretty. So let's switch on camera.
Handsome also, Azama. Come on, handsome also.
Come on, both can be pretty. Okay, anyways.
Okay.
So, yes, let's go. Right, we'll just wait for a minute more for everybody else to come on screen.
Okay, we're here. Georgia, where are you?
Yes,
oh, there
Google, yes. Nahida, okay. Irene, Terry, we like your picture, but we'd like you more. Okay. Great then. So say cheese on the count of 3. All of us blow flying kisses to Dr.
Let's say money instead of cheese.
Save money. I like that. There we go.
Money.
Okay, there we go.
Great. 3.
Are you counting?
Yes.
1.
3, 2, 1, go. Let me take some pictures. Awesome.
Okay.
Awesome.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.